Hey, Steve Peterson here with Infinity Investments. Welcome to our channel where we talk all things commercial and investment real estate. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about return on investment versus return on your equity. And that concept, return on equity, and the power of a 1031 exchange. Now, in 2021, in the multifamily and commercial investment world, the market has picked back up. It's pretty hot. So a lot of people who are thinking about selling have the common objection of, hey man, what am I gonna buy? Sure, I can sell my property for a lot of money, but what am I gonna buy, right? And that's a valid concern. Let me just say this. If you got an excellent property and this is a legacy property, something you wanna pass on to your kids, then yeah, hold on to it. But for a lot of us, it's really just money generated in terms of what we're looking at properties. How much money do they create? So, a couple people asked me to hop on the whiteboard, and I'm gonna do that, and I realize my handwriting is horrible. But what I'm going to talk about in terms of return on investment first. And in real estate, there's a lot of different ways to measure return on investment. But we look at the annual ROI, return on investment, as our cash on cash return. Now understand there's several different measures of return. There's internal rate of return, there's cash on cash return, the cap rate essentially is a measure of return, right? So we're simply just looking right now at the return on investment being our annual cash on cash. How much money you make from a cash flow standpoint. So let's say you bought a fourplex in Oakland in 2014, right? 2021, 7 years ago, all right? So you made some equity on that. So you probably bought that property for $400,000, okay? This is $400K in 2014. Now, you put 25% down as investment property, residential, so you can get away with 25% down. That would have been $100K down payment, all right? And let's just say at that time, because you could have got this at that time, you put $100K down, you bought it for $400,000, and you're making $12,000 a year. So your $12,000 is your annual cash flow, all right? Now, in order to calculate our cash on cash return, our return on investment, we would take our $12,000 annual cash flow that we're making and divide it by our down payment. So we take $12,000, divide that by 100 grand, and that's 12% cash on cash return. A pretty excellent rate of return, right? And this is real. In 2014, you could have easily bought a fourplex for $400,000. I know because I sold a few of them, right? Now, fast forward to 2021. You've owned the property 7 years. You're making good money, all right? You're making 12% on your money. And because we're in Oakland, you got this thing called rent control. You may not have been able to increase your rents. Now, a lot of people I know during that time did increase their rents with people moving out, moving in, and so forth. But let's just say all things considered, you didn't. You kept your rents flat, all right? So now let's look at the property's value and its net equity in order to determine the return on equity. So we know what you're making on the cash that you put in, right? You put the 100K cash in, you're getting 12% of that, right? Now let's look at the return on your equity, right? So today's value, 2021, say the property is $900,000. And I'm sorry, you probably can't say this, so just trust me as I map these numbers out. You might not be able to see it. But $900K in value. That's about what fourplex, give or take. There's some higher than that. There's some lower than that in Oakland right now. All right, but let's just say now your property that you bought for $400K is now worth $900K, right? Now, when you're calculating your return on equity, you have to first figure out what is your property's net equity. What do I mean by net? So if your property's worth $900,000, when you sell it, you got this thing called cost of sale. Because if you're gonna sell a property for the most money, you really need a broker and a real good one to get it done for you, right? So we got a 6% cost of sale in this number. So I take, and that's $63,000. So I take 63 grand away from 900 grand. And then, because I put $100,000 down, I have a loan, right? When we bought it in 2014, for $400K, we put 100 down, we got a loan for 300,000. Now, for example's sake, I'm using a loan amount for 300K. But if you own the property for 7 years, you probably would have paid it down at least around 40 to 50,000, depending on what kind of loan you had. If you have an interest-only loan, then your loan amount will be 300,000, right? So we take away from our 900,000 value 6% cost of sale, then we take away $300,000 loan amount, and that gives us a net equity number, what your equity is if you sold this property, the money you put in your pocket, or the money you would have to exchange with, is $537,000. Pretty good investment. So you put up 100 G's, you're making 12 grand a year. That's excellent. But on top of that, your 100 grand grew into 537,000. Your money grew more than 5 times. Excellent investment. That's why we love real estate. However, what are you making on that 537,000? Making 12% on your cash. Well, what are you making on that 537? So that number is called your return on equity. And in order to figure that out, you take your 537 number, that's your equity. First of all, you take your 12,000 annual cash flow. That's the number you make. That's your return. You take that number, divide it by your equity, 537,000, and that gets us a number. So you're making 12% on your cash of 100K, but you take 12,000 divided by 537,000, that gets us 2.2%. You're making 2.2% on your money. That's it. On your equity. Let me get it right. You're making 2.2% on your equity. So a lot of people say to me, hey Steve, if I'm gonna sell my property, what else am I gonna buy? I would go out here and buy another property and everything's expensive. And you're right. However, let's just look at the math, because you're only making 2.2% of that money. If we sold your property and did a 1031 exchange, what could you make? Right now in Oakland, most properties that I see selling in East Oakland are selling at a 5% cap rate. I'm saying, and I only say that because I'm involved in 4 deals right now that are going to be 5+ cap rates, 5 to 5.5. Now, a lot of places in Oakland you might be sub 5, 4%, but you can find 5% all day long. And anybody throw me a comment if you would like to challenge that. What is it today? August 2021. 5% all day long. I'm working 4 deals right now, and one of them I have listed as a 5+ cap rate. So in this example, if you sold your building for $900,000 and all you did was went in Oakland and bought another building, let's say, and there's a 10-unit property that I'm in contract on. One of my agents and I are helping a client, 10-unit building in Oakland that they're buying for $1.5 million, $150,000 a unit. It's marketed at I think a 5.9% cap rate, right? You're only making 2.2% on your money in this example, the fourplex. So if you sold, took your 537 here, and you bought something that was at a minimum of a 5% cap rate, and this here says, let me show you, 5% cap rate, you would double your cash on cash return. Because most loans right now in apartment buildings are the 3%. So if you get a 5% cap rate, you're more than paying your 3.5% interest rate, and you're going to be making about 5.5 to 6% on your money. But let's just say all you make is 5%, 5 cap rate. All you make is 5%. So the debt is 3.5. You should be making a spread on that, having positive leverage. But let's just say at the end of the day, you're only making 5% cash on cash. Well, 5% of $537,000 is going to be it's going to be somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000. That represents a doubling of your cash flow. A doubling. All you did was bought a 5% cap in today's market, which is all day long you can find. You can double your cash flow. So this is the importance of the power of understanding your numbers, where you are today, and what you can do with today's market. So if a tenant ain't paying you, or if a property's stressing you out, don't get bogged down into this, oh, what can I buy because everything's so expensive. Bust down the numbers. Now, if you bought a property in 2018, you ain't got that much equity, yeah, it probably doesn't make sense to sell. But you got a lot of dead equity, only making you 2.5%. If you roll into a 5% cap rate, you're doubling your cash flow. So just take that into account. I'm not saying you need to sell your property, but take that into account as you analyze where you are today, the moves you're trying to make forward, and let the numbers help you make a decision. You know, I hope this was helpful. I hope you can use this in your investing career. If it is, throw a like, subscribe, tell me I'm crazy. You know, I want to hear your thoughts on cap rates in your market. I want to hear your thoughts on cash. Do you think this is done? Can this be done? But it's being done every single day. It's being done right now in the Bay Area. Let alone, let's say you sell your property in the Bay Area, take it out to Texas, or take it out to Atlanta, or take it out to the Central Valley of California. You can significantly increase your cash flow, double, maybe even triple. So again, stay tapped in for this quality information. Let's grow together as a marketplace, and best of success to you in your investing career. Peace out.